Well, how are you guys? It's been a while since I've spoken to some of you, and I'm hoping to catch up with you guys soon. But this morning, I want to encourage you from Ezra 3, just because we're into the thick of the study lounge now, and sometimes when you're in the thick of things, it can be hard to take a step back and be grateful and thankful for everything that God has been doing. But I think it's important at this stage, before we move on, to actually take that step back and yeah, just celebrate and be thankful for what God has been doing, no matter if that currently matches your expectations, or it exceeds your expectations, or it's underneath your expectations. It's important to take that step back and just be thankful for what God is doing. Now, I want to start by telling you a story. That there was a group of people called the Israelites who God rescued out of the land of Egypt, and He brought them into the promised land, the land of Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey. And in that land, they decide to have a king, and so God gives them a king, and God gives them instructions on how they are to live and what their king should be like. And we find that their kings start off very, very well, and the people start off very, very well. They build a temple, they worship God, they follow Him. But we find over the next couple of hundred years that things begin to break down. These people that God had rescued start to rebel against Him, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And God keeps sending messengers to these people, the Israelites, and their kings, to tell them that you guys are being disobedient. You guys aren't listening. You guys are wandering very, very far from me. In fact, your heart is not here with me, it's with the nations, their gods. You guys just want to worship the gods of the nations and not the God of Israel, Yahweh. And so God keeps warning them for hundreds of years until it gets so bad that He decides, okay, enough is enough. I've been warning you guys for a very long time. I will tell you what, if your heart is bent on the gods of the nations and being like the nations, guess what? I will send you there. And so God sends the Israelites into exile to Babylon and to Assyria. He sends them into exile where they remain for tens and tens of years. But finally He decides to bring back a remnant from Babylon to restart and be a nation again. And He almost presses the reset button and say, hey, I'm giving you guys another chance to follow me, to seek me out, and to love me. And so we find in the book of Ezra that a remnant has returned from Babylon, a small group of people that is, has returned from Babylon, and the whole country is devastated. And they've got to rebuild everything from the ground up again. And this includes building the temple. And we find in chapter 3 that they had just finished laying the foundation for the temple. In fact, you read in chapter 3 verse 11, and all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. That is, they had just finished laying the foundation for the temple, where they're going to worship God and renew themselves in obedience and worship and praise to God. Now, they're praising Him, they're worshiping Him, which is great, but notice the only thing that has just been completed is their foundation. They've got a long way to go. Only the foundation of the temple is laid, and yet they're shouting and they're rejoicing. And I think the reason for that is, having spent so long in Babylon and so long in exile, so long in captivity, this is a huge step for them to be able to begin worshiping God again. And I think sometimes when we're involved in God's work, that is building ministry, reaching people, serving people, sometimes we can lose perspective. That is, we forget to see everything that God is doing and what He has been doing, and we cease to give thanks for that. And so let me encourage you from Ezra 3 today, that wherever you are in the Stay Lounge ministry, no matter it's exceeding, matching, or it's below your expectation, to look at what God has laid so far in this ministry, everything that He's done so far, and just thank Him for His faithfulness, that He's been working in and through you, and all the great things that He's been doing. And to do what the people do in Ezra 3, when they're starting to rebuild the temple, and all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. Right, hope that's been encouraging to you guys. I'm hoping to touch base with you soon. Take care and keep well.